Let's see what they gotta talk about DJ Khaled, yeah? I heard from DJ Khaled in a bit. I guess he was one of the first to be exposed as one of the culture vultures out here. You know what I'm saying? Use, abuse, and never give back or stand for anything. So let's go.
Then you will fall for anything. And at the moment, it's a set of circumstances that DJ Khaled is facing the ill effects of. Just a few years ago, Khaled seemed like an immovable force in hip-hop. And no, that's not a reference to his notorious physique that he tends to be a little delusional about.
I don't lose weight, because all I do is win. Because all this is greatness. I'm one of one, everybody got their own vibe. I just want to carve it out a little.
His 2017 album Grateful was certified double platinum in the US, while most of his other projects in the past few years have experienced similar degrees of success. Along the way, I'm the One and Wild Thoughts became #1 singles that were unavoidable in any club or party for years. After first making waves in the industry in the early 2000s, Khaled's long-standing fame and fortune is
I remember them days. T-Pain, when T-Pain came on the scene, bro. Yeah, T-Pain came on, it was a wave that you just couldn't stop. A lot of people hated T-Pain. T-Pain was, you wanted a hit, man, you went to T-Pain, you know what I'm
something
saying?
he's clearly eager to celebrate. In fact, at this point, it basically seems like he lives in his own money-fueled world, where the idea that self-praise is no praise has clearly sunk in. But now, it feels like not only does the general public want him to emerge from his closely guarded bubble of wealth and luxury, but that those he's shared the spotlight with in the mainstream of hip-hop are now beginning to see him as inessential in a way that would have been hard to imagine just 5 short years ago. It's your boy Luesta, and this is why DJ Khaled can't outrun his fall-off. Prior to both the audience and the industry looking as if they're ready to expel him from the game at a moment's notice, DJ Khaled seemed largely beloved by his peers. Granted, there are moments where he made himself a laughingstock with some of his ridiculous moments.
So you saying you don't go down?
Nah, never.
All of that to say you don't go down? Come on.
You don't eat the box?
Come
Nah,
on,
I can't do
Khaled.
that.
Oh,
You
my
don't eat no
God.
food, Nah.
Not even like for her birthday?
Nah, listen,
Christmas?
she get,
Sheesh.
I put in that work. My work is great. I don't do that.
But generally, most people always seem to view him as harmless, if not lovably goofy. Alongside his tendency towards creating memes, he also became one of the first artists to truly harness social media to his advantage by basically chronicling his entire life there.
I told everybody, I don't care what money out there, I don't want it. I want to chill out. So now I got Snapchat. I didn't know Snapchat, I don't even know how to use it yet. While I was doing all that, I didn't know the whole world was watching me. My snap broke from a jet ski, like the phone got messed up. But I was at the Apple store fixing my phone. I turn around, there's like 5,000 people in the store. I said, is Justin Bieber in here? And then they start screaming, Lion, DJ Khaled, major key alert. The key is, the grass was brown, now it's green. I ain't give up. They were saying all my talk. People now know DJ Khaled personally, not just for making #1 hits.
Between the presence he created online,
I think this guy is, I mean, in the beginning, DJ Khaled was cool, but talk about egotistical, self-centered. The fame got to his head a bit too fast, too quick. And he started shitting on everybody else around him, started using people just to get his hits. And then when he didn't get a hit, he just moved on and never looked back on some of them, you know?
and the massive network of famed musicians who seemed eager to work with him, Khaled came a long way from his early days as a radio DJ, or working with Fat Joe as part of Terror Squad.
It didn't happen overnight for me. Quincy Jones didn't make Thriller till he was 50 years old. When I turned 40, that was when my biggest success happened. I worked free 90% of my life. 97% of my life, I worked for free. But I knew what it would take.
And even more impressively, he managed to do this without most of his fans having a full grasp of precisely what he does on his records. He didn't really justify his importance either when asked, maintaining that while he does have skills, he doesn't have to use them as his role to curate.
Yeah, because he don't make the beat. He definitely don't rap, don't sing. All he really does is he has connections, get people to come in the studio, and he just turn up the volume on the mic, add in a little. No, man, he don't really. Yeah.
Curate the atmosphere from above. There are beat makers and there are producers, Khaled told Complex. I'm a producer. I put together amazing records, whether that's finding the beat or putting the right hook on there and picking the right artists on the record. That's me being an A&R. And I'm making sure that they give me their best. A Khaled record is always the best. I make hits, he continued. I find hits and I put hits out. That's what I do.
So,
but over time,
he gets a beat maker, gets the artist, gets somebody to do the hook, gets them in the studio, they lay their tracks, and then what he does, copy, paste, put it together, and hey, I produced this track. Come on now, you joking.
the cultural temperature on DJ Khaled has changed, where he once seemed like someone who'd lucked out and landed on his feet. Many fans and creatives now actively see him as a malignant presence.
All I do is win. Got money on my. And every summer, everybody.
And while this is a multifaceted situation, Khaled certainly didn't help himself to avoid this reputation when he basically positioned himself as an enemy of expression in hip-hop. The sense that he was all about commerce rather than creativity began in 2019, when he squared off in a chart battle with Tyler the Creator's Igor project. Coming off the success of Grateful, Khaled presumably assumed that the #1 spot was all but secured for the follow-up Father of Assad. But where his previous album had 2 of his biggest songs ever, there was no real smash single to anchor its release in the same way. Meanwhile, Tyler the Creator had produced something special with Igor, delivering an album which evolved his sound and took him to entirely new heights. From basically every standpoint and metric, Igor rightfully deserved to take the #1 spot, and did just that.
And he
but
was
even if
pissed.
listeners voted with
I
their
remember he was pissed. He never got over that.
streams to propel Tyler to that spot,
But what
one
makes you think
person
that you could actually beat a artist who makes music, writes his music, goes inside, records his music, yeah, lets you know what he wants, and you trying to think that you can beat him by just sitting back and copy pasting, putting stuff together, and then pressing play? I don't like. Come on, man.
couldn't stomach it, and that was DJ Khaled. And rather than be a gracious loser, he took to Instagram to complain about being overlooked while trying to devalue what Tyler had done in the process.
I make albums so people can play it and you actually hear it. You know, driving your car, you hear another car playing it. You know, go to the barbershop, you hear them playing it. You know, turn the radio on and you hear them playing it. You know, it's playing everywhere. It's called great music. It's called albums that you actually hear the songs. Not no mysterious shit and you never hear it. On your dome.
Immediately, audiences took exception to his dismissive attitude,
That means-
and along the way, it felt like people
What he's trying
collect-
to say is his audience don't listen to it. You know, some of these producers, artists, you need to realize the world's a big place. And if you have to take your audience, your fans, and rank them amongst everybody else, man, they might not even reach 0.2%, if that much. You know, I'm just saying that small fish in a very large pond.
collectively woke up to the fact that his success wasn't something he should be taken for granted, when a diehard DJ Khaled fan isn't something that exists. He lost my respect for that. Tyler's a way more talented and creative artist. Even his old music is proof of effort and hard work. I've never heard anyone playing his music. And as for those in the industry, they saw him as a hypocrite.
And he said, I sell albums, not bundles. You were trying to sell bundles the first week. What are you talking about? If your bundles would have counted and would have counted and would caused your first week sales to be higher, and somebody called you out for it, you'd be calling them a sore loser.
Rather than respond with anger, Tyler basically laughed it off, pointing out how ridiculous it was that Khaled's entire identity was so wrapped up in being #1 that he went into full meltdown so rapidly.
It was fun. It was just watching a man die inside because the guy that, you know, the weirdo was winning. I was moonwalking in a wig. This nigga had everyone on his album. Everyone. But I didn't say nothing. I just let that #1 speak. The ego had to deal with that because his whole identity is being #1. And when he didn't get that, that sat with him longer in real lifetime than that moment. And the ego was deflated. He'll probably never admit it.
And since then, Tyler has taken great delight in rubbing his continued success in Khaled's face.
And I know you're seething and angry and no one listens to that album. These arena tours that are selling out says different. And if you put that much energy into something, maybe everyone will be proud of you too.
Since then, the two have allegedly resolved their issues, with
Really
Khaled
bad,
telling
man.
Rolling
Really
Stone
good
that he and
Grammy
Tyler chopped it up at Jay-Z's Rock Nation brunch earlier this year. But whether he realized it or not, this incident marked a turning point in how the public saw him. Through
real.
that one ill-advised rant about losing the #1 spot,
Oh, really? The first Drake, yeah? Is that what we trying to say? I mean, both of them were best of friends, but you know what I'm saying? The first Drizzy, yeah?
he gave the world a peek behind the curtain at the man away from the Snapchat stories. And rather than seeing someone they could relate to, they saw entitlement, greed, and jealousy. Plus, the insiders from his own record label's testimony about how he responded to the chart situation only cemented the idea that the real Khaled wasn't the happy-go-lucky character that provided self-styled inspirational quotes in his IG stories. He was furious, they remarked. There was some nasty stuff said. Publicly, he's all about positivity, but there is a mean side to him that people don't see. He overhyped the record and blew it up as his biggest album ever. In the aftermath of not being formally appointed the best on the charts, it felt like DJ Khaled began to try and assert himself even more. And
Man, I remember this, man. He had a meltdown. Man was hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Music sometimes. You gotta take an L. Get back in the booth, get back in the studio, and create some better music. That's what people want to hear.
talk up his own accomplishments. But rather than being something that the masses could get behind, it seemed like he was just pushing a misconception of how important he is in the game.
Versus battle. Who you beating? Who you going against?
You know, for me, I wouldn't do a versus right now, but if I ever did one, I would want to do it when I decide to not want to make music no more, because I feel like that's when I would want my catalog to be praised. You know what I'm saying? And right now, I'm just getting started. But to answer your question, you know, I really don't see nobody. My catalog is super strong. I'm from Miami, so...
In the aftermath of his tantrum about Tyler's success,
This
everything
guy,
he
you know,
does
he's
is
funny.
now seen as the actions of
He
a
is
prima
funny,
donna,
though. You
rather
gotta
than
give
a
him that.
hard-working producer whose success was merited. And as he continued to flaunt his wealth, things got ridiculous to the point that he was carried by his security to evade his sneakers getting dirty.
I don't want to get my Jordans dirty. Can I get everybody to help me? Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
You want to get in the back?
Can't mess up the J's. I'm performing live right now.
This can't help but feel pretty tone
Yeah,
deaf in a
come
world
on,
where
bro.
so many people have to work multiple jobs just to keep the lights on. But when you consider what thousands of people are dealing with in the country that his heritage goes back to are experiencing,
Okay.
it feels completely out of whack with what's going on. Aside from Bella Hadid, DJ Khaled is arguably the most famous Palestinian in the world. But
Okay.
where she risks being doxxed and getting shadow banned by Meta to make her voice heard about what's going on in Gaza, Khaled has been hugely criticized for his complete silence.
Why'd you make the sign? This man who's a bitch, his name is DJ Khaled, he's Palestinian, and he could be the biggest voice for Palestine if he used this platform, but he stays silent. So why? Because he want that money, bro. He want that money. He sold his soul, you know what I'm saying?
Rather than being a
Right.
change of heart, this is a long-running
Yeah.
issue
That cut deep for real though.
when
Come
it
on,
comes
man.
to his identity. While he has acknowledged that he is of Palestinian descent, he has never truly cast his hat into the ring to stand up for them. Instead, choosing to play it safe and avoid saying anything that might stir controversy.
You still have family in Palestine.
Yes, I do.
How do you get involved politically in the Middle East?
I get involved with the peace. You know what I'm saying? Meaning as I'm all about peace. I'm all about unity. I'm all about love, and I want my people, you know, to always be good.
Then, in 2016, Khaled
Okay.
was the subject of a diss track by Peace House as they
Kinda
wrote,
deflected
1 month
there.
ago, DJ
Quick.
Khaled, a Palestinian-American music producer, performed a concert for Sabra Hummus in California. Sabra Hummus has been on the boycott list for several years now, due to their support for the Israeli military. This was news to many, who promptly expressed their dismay that he wouldn't stand up for the nation. Never knew that Khaled was such a sellout. The respect I had for him just dropped. And if this felt like basically skirting around the issue, the scrutiny he came under for this non-committal approach for what his people were experiencing
So really and truly, everything came back to bite him. You know what I mean? When you try to tear somebody else down, you better make sure that your feet are standing up on solid concrete. Yeah, because you might tear them down, and on their way down, they just... And here you come following right behind. Funny thing is, when you try to tear people down, and you just make them stronger, some of them don't even be torn down. They elevate even more.
has only been magnified since the siege of Palestine began after October 7th, with what was initially billed as retaliation suddenly meeting the criteria for genocide. And now, every post he does is bombarded with comments like this: "Your country is under bombardment and you're dancing. Don't call yourself Palestinian." As the situation in Gaza continues to get worse, DJ Khaled continues to keep living his lavish life and posting it all over the internet for people to see. This has led plenty of people to express their disgust over how little he's doing to raise awareness or funds for his homeland, including DL Hughley, who went off on him over that video of him being worried about his sneakers when there's so much horror taking place.
So I'll see you exalting God when you make a shot, but I'll watch a 7-year-old Palestinian boy who is praying to God for the strength to bear that his family had been killed. I'll watch you pray to not hit a bunker, and then I will watch a Palestinian family pray that they can find one. We are all people, and everybody can do what they can do. But when I watch you have grown men carry you so you don't f your Jordans, we're used to Palestinians being carried. They're just not alive, they're dead. And they don't have shoes, they don't even have feet. And so, to me, you have gone from DJ Khaled to DJ Callous. You cannot be so oblivious that you forget that the images that you are portraying have an equal and opposite effect. And what it tells people is that somebody that looks like them doesn't care. Why should you?
And instead of just staying silent, he's flat out refused to speak even when given a clear chance to do so.
Is that DJ Khaled? Hold on. Free Palestine, DJ Khaled. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. He didn't say it.
Because of this desertion, even his own cousin has emerged to speak out against him.
There's no reasons, there's no excuse when you're actually a Palestinian. And for me, my mother lives there, you know what I mean? We're from the same village, same families. There's no excuse, and right now my heart and dedication is everything with Palestine. And
while his own apathy has led him to being roasted by people like Dave Chappelle.
DJ Khaled, let me tell you something. For a Palestinian, this man is awfully quiet right now. As a Palestinian, how could you be so quiet right now? And why are you so fat? People are starving. He's the only fat Palestinian on earth right now.
Damn. Given how he's handling the situation,
yo, that's a roast, bro. That's diabolical, bro. Either lay your head low or you're gonna do something.
Perception is that he values maximizing his money over ever saying anything that might make him a divisive figure. In a lot of ways, this isn't exactly surprising from a man who changed his DJ name from Arab Attack to DJ Khaled in order to distance himself from the notion of terrorism after 9/11. That might be understandable in that it would be insensitive, but as things continue to get worse in Gaza, his silence has been judged as complicity when he's more focused on networking and securing his next collaboration. And as a result, he's getting more hate than ever. All the while, he's been sitting on Jimmy Fallon enjoying a Palestinian dish to celebrate his birthday without once acknowledging the struggles his people were facing.
It's called maklube.
Maklube.
Maklube, yes.
Well, I wanted you to be in a good mood.
Oh my God.
So I had a little.
No, this is maklube.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Khaled.
Labeled as a traitor by many people in and out of Palestine,
so this is what
his
really
behavior
brought
is
his
by
downfall,
people like Mark
the fact that he comes from Palestine and he has not recognized anything to do with what's going on, the place of his birth. You know, kind of everybody looks at him like you turned your back on your own country. Yeah, when you do something like that, bro, that can finish you.
From the Joe Budden podcast are arguing it's a necessity he is heard now before it's too late.
Is it wrong to expect famous people who represent a particular group that's catching hell to say something about it? Is that a fair expectation?
I think in this particular circumstance, yeah, there is an expectation that you speak up for it. Just because we're watching an act of genocide and these are your people and you're silent, yes.
And it ain't but three of y'all.
There's an expectation.
The other thing for me is if there were like 100 famous Palestinians out there, like,
exactly.
It's Gigi Hadid, she's doing it. You know what I mean? There's so few that I feel like you have a greater burden.
In fairness, there are some people who try and shoot him some bail, with ICE believing that rightly or wrongly, he's weighed up the pros and cons to his bank account and making a calculated decision.
Some people, it's not worth it, yo. I've had conversations I've had conversations with some athletes during when Kaepernick first took the knee. And my man, he was like, yo, I want to take the knee to support. He was like, but yo, I do that, I risk losing this. And he ran down a list of people that depend on me to bring the check home. Some people put that shit on the scale and be like, yo, I'm with you, but I can't be with you.
But unfortunately, attitudes like this are ultimately why so much goes unchecked in this world. And considering Epic Records' parent company Sony has a dedicated Israeli label named One Way, it seems like DJ Khaled would rather sit back and count his money and influence rather than stand up. And while he might be happy with that decision to hold on to his fame without any hint of controversy, history might not smile so fondly on how.
I haven't heard nothing from DJ Khaled forever. It's been ages. You know, last thing I know, he went down to the Caribbean. I think Jamaica tried to jump on reggae or whatever to get his sales or get his album up, and it didn't work. And then he's gone off to go and vulture somewhere else. You know, word is that he only uses people to get his hits, try and get his album up. And if it does good, you hear back from him. If it doesn't, DJ who? When, where, how, why? Man.
He's moving. Because instead of providing aid, he's been signing deals reported to be in the low 9-figure range, which has to do with him selling his entire catalog to influence media. A deal which seeks to expand commercial opportunities for DJ Khaled with name, image, and likeness rights. It's clear that his focus resides there, rather than on anything beyond his own prosperity. And while that may seem like the only way for him to hold on to his precious fame, what Khaled seems to have forgotten about is that he's already losing some of those collaborators that he is so overly reliant on.
Yeah, man,
Earlier in 2024, DJ Khaled began promoting his latest album, known as Alam of God. And from the beginning of his rollout, one man that was central to it was none other than Drake. When it began, this made a lot of sense, considering that they had a connection that was solidified earlier in his career.
First of all, Drake, man, is an amazing person. It's my brother. He's really supported me a lot in my career. You know, when he first came in the game, I reached out to him to do a record. It was called Fed Up. I wanted him so bad. I knew he was going to be the next biggest thing. This kid was special.
This was the catalyst for countless link-ups since. And after his 16th project was recorded, it seemed like they'd be adding 2 more tracks to their combined discography.
You know I got 2 Drakes in the can, 2 Champagne Poppies on my album. You know that, right?
Alongside Khaled posting banners which said he had a duo of Drizzy features, Drake was so interlinked with it all to the point that even when the record had a convoluted Mark Wahlberg featuring trailer that centered around a heist plot, the target was the 2 Drake features.
This guy's got 2 Drake songs on it, okay, 2.
And as of the beginning of 2025, there was no reason to assume that this wasn't going to play out as planned until in February.
I didn't even realize there was a commercial out. A trailer for his album, you know.
Khaled made the following post. This not my last album, this my black album, J-Voice. Drake's back to work, so am I. This the one with Drake's. He wrote in a now deleted IG caption, @AO1. Matter of fact, send that record over to @BadGirlRiri. Yo, Ree, everything is locked. But if Khaled was gearing up to begin an assault on the charts, Drake was about to smother the flames when he commented on the announcement claiming, must be @DrakeBell. When it comes to a man whose entire career revolves around being able to gain access to the biggest stars, this was a crushing blow. And within days, the announcement was gone from sight. While looking for answers, Drake's unofficial PR team Academics revealed that things weren't as rosy as they seemed between them and hadn't been for a long time. In fact, there were even
because Khaled is friends with Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying?
Splits just to secure the last few Drizzy features.
Remember that one song, To The Max? I get a story on that. Remember I told you there was an artist that was so desperate to get a song out with Drake that Drake took 95% of the song? Tell me if I'm lying. Khaled, Drake, anybody else. Don't ask me how I know. Drake said no 55 times. You said you needed the song. Drake said, bro, he said, whatever you need. They came back business-wise that Drake owns 95% of this publishing because they didn't want the song out at the time. He didn't think it was in line with what he was doing.
And with Drake suddenly calling the shots on IG, it seems like he's now flexing this power in public, perhaps as a means of getting as much of the bag as possible. Aside from this possibility, Academics also suggested that maybe they simply weren't friends in the way that Khaled envisioned, or that Drake grew tired of the over-reliance that people have on him. And now, Khaled is facing the consequences of that.
The point is this. It's not about the business. Because at the time when Drake is the top artist in the world and he's giving out the stimmies.
Yeah, but fuck with the stimulus, fact. Like he's forgotten all the people who helped him to get there where when he needed them. In short, Now, I don't like what he did with DJ Khaled because when he really needed to be played in the clubs down in Miami, Atlanta, you know, in the early days, come on, it was Khaled there who was helping you out. You know, regardless if he stays friends with people he's known longer than you. His next door neighbors, bro. Come on now. Yeah, so I don't really agree with this whole thing. At the same time, though, I'm not taking away from DJ Khaled. Just literally got what he's been doing to everybody else done to him. So let's just be fair here. Karma's a motherfucker. Karma came for Khaled in the form of Drake. Karma came for Drake in the form of the boogeyman, Kendrick Lamar. Straight up, what it is.
Even when he didn't want to put out a record that maybe he's looking at like, my fans ain't gonna fuck with this right now, he did it because of y'all.
Right.
Oh, well, I'm dropping my album, Drake. I need a feature. It can't be all about you. Y'all all got what y'all needed to get.
These days, it's clear Drake is done doing favors. On tracks like What Did I Miss, he spoke out of how he needed absolute loyalty or nothing at all. And while this might not be too much of a concern for self-sustainable artists, it's a disaster for someone like Khaled who relies on the stimulus of big stars. And now, it seems like his silence on Palestine wasn't the only time where playing it safe has led to his downfall.
Oh, we got
because
another one.
while the Kendrick and Drake beef was less than a concern for him, individuals like Future, Rick Ross, and others hopping into the so-called 20v1s led to plenty of jokes at his expense. And at every turn, he stayed out of it, even as Rick Ross tried to drag him in against his will. From that vantage point, Khaled was perhaps just as much in jeopardy as any active participant. DJ Khaled gonna have to get 4Bats, Central C, and Ice Spice to make songs on his next album. All his regulars hate each other. But while he didn't say any
And these are all the people that he does songs with. This is what I'm saying. Like, you gotta be careful
that
what
could
you do.
incriminate him, it now seems like that's part of the problem, particularly for Drake, who needs the loyalty to be pronounced now that he's learned he can't trust anyone. On tracks like Blue, Green,
Done it
Red,
to
it was
himself.
inferred that silence spoke volumes to people like Drizzy. Friends that I treated like family, they were just hanging around. And after everything that's happened, it seems like this might apply to Khaled. Left scrambling to rediscover where he sits in the landscape, Khaled has pulled the old trick of suggesting that his next album might be his last for a long time. I'm treating this like it's my last album, but it's not a goodbye, he said. You're going to start seeing and hearing about all these new things that I'm doing. I'm gonna be doing more TV and film. That's what Till Next Time is. I'm going to be giving you an incredible album, but while I'm giving you that incredible album, you're going to see all these big new movies that I'm doing and new categories that we're going to take over. Now,
I mean, I wish him the best. I do wish him the best. I don't wish down on anybody. At the same time, you know, your prime is gone. People have moved on. Music is upgraded. You know, a lot of these guys think that they're still in their prime. Your prime is gone, bro. Just accept it. Move on. You can still create music. You can still create content. Just accept it. You know, we ain't young bucks no more.
Conscious of the mixed response he receives on social media, Khaled has been hopping on viral trends to try and maximize buzz.
You see what I'm saying?
And as he tends to these days, overstating his role in the culture.
I'll stop it right there, but I wish him the best. You know what I'm saying? I wish him the best, man. Bless.